Good morning and greetings from Northumberland on another damp and drear morning. We can only hope that for our holidaymakers' sake, like yesterday, the dampness of the morning turns into a more reasonable day. Today is the feast of St. John Baptist Vianney, one of the patrons of parish priests, but I'm not going to talk about him this year. I think I talked about him last year. Safe to say he devoted his life to being a parish priest, to listening to people's confessions and to their requests for advice and counsel. But we are going to continue this week our little excursion into the letter of James. And as the week comes closer to its end, we're looking at James chapter 4, verses 13 to chapter 5, verse 6. And those who think that religion and politics don't mix will not like these verses. Because James starts off with those whose only ambition is to make money. Come now, you who say today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a town and spend a year doing business and making money. You don't know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wishes, we will do this or that. He speaks of their arrogance. And then he goes on at the beginning of chapter 5 to say, come now, you rich people, weep and wail for the miseries that are coming to you. Your riches have rotted, your clothes are moth-eaten, your gold and silver has rusted, and their rust will be evidence against you. Listen, the wages of the labourers who mowed your fields, which you kept back by fraud, cry out, and the cries of the harvester have reached the ears of the Lord of hosts. You have lived in luxury and pleasure. You have condemned and murdered the righteous. James, in his letter, calls people who have wealth. He doesn't condemn wealth itself, but he does condemn any sort of wealth that is accrued and enjoyed at the expense of others. There have always been rich philanthropists, people like Sam Salt in West Yorkshire, people like the Cadburys and the Frys, who set up model communities where those who were the managers and the owners and those who were the workers could live with dignity. And in doing that, those people really were looking to the letter of James as an inspiration, saying that everyone deserves dignity. Everyone deserves the right to a life and a home and food that are commiserate with their needs. And this is something that Christian people should take to heart, and this is something that Christian Gospels preached from the beginning. That those who have should consider those who have not, and those who have not should not be driven to the extremes of poverty and need. It is a clear scriptural principle, and it is one that as a church we should proclaim in the face of a world that often turns its back on the poor, and in a country where the divisions between rich and poor are increasing. But it's also something the church should take to heart in itself. Do we, in the way we use and spend our resources, seek to help the poorest people? Do we, in the way that we apportion the clergy, seek to support every community? Or do we give to the rich at the expense of the poor and vulnerable? These are challenges for us all. May God bless us and guide us in the ways of justice.